Hello everyone, this is a grumpy old guy gaming. We are back on the V's Place server and today I kind of want to do a little video that sort of popped up out of the blue. Just going to walk around town here a bit while I ramble and get my bearings about me. Um, and this is the main crux of the video. Quick hello to Samantha Blackrose over at NetSlum. She was streaming on the Discord the other day, and if y'all ever get a chance, just join the Discord and keep an eye on the voice channel. Every now and then, you'll see folks like Sam streaming live there. If you're looking for that dot hack fix or maybe interested in Fragment and want to ask how it's going and see exactly what the game entails, no better way to do it than there. And the low price of free just come and hang out just can't be beat. But she was actually running with a level 39, quickly turning to level 40 Blade Master, and ran a field but did not go into the dungeon due to the monster mix starting to crop up as the kind of variety that could make you lose a level if you're not careful. So, being a fan of poorly thought out Robert Frost references, I thought I would grab my Blade Master and venture down the path not taken. Entering into the Chaos Gate, the keywords, she was nice enough to tell me, were level 30, Talisman, which I believe is just up past these, and Scaffold, which should be, yeah, there we go. It's a level 45 Dark Field, so that's certainly the level range you want to look at to level in that area. And without further ado, here we go. Well, we're coming in right away to a portal, and I got a lucky break. It's a treasure chest, and that's going to give me some Night Blight. Certainly not complaining with that, and there's a Spring of Mist just ahead of us. So again, if you're looking to upgrade some weapons or pick up some golden and silver axes for your offline trading needs, got a spring right ahead. Let's go ahead and do a field clear. Always look for these little dead tree copses or trees full of dead. It's very weird to find one with just one symbol around. Usually the symbols in these swamp fields, and yeah, that's the type according to the creation engine, kind of bunch up. Here's a dark horse. Every time I see them, I call them nightmares. Just the strength I'm used to for constantly running and failing to get BT's wand at the crab server. It's one of the farming dungeons. Here we have some pumpkins, which again are the finest grunty food in R1. I will die on that hill. Feel free to disagree. Not my business to tell you you're wrong after all. And here we have some Frankens. And the Frankens are what you really got to watch out for. They've got a paralyze ability and death touch. So what I'm going to do is probably one of my favorite tactics with just about any character, but especially with the melee characters because it's not often thought about, and it's backing up and using a ROM spell. It's not the most exciting way to play, and it's certainly not the quickest way to go, but it is a safe way to handle things. And because ROM spells are fairly reliable damage, if you can get your enemies clustered together like this, they can't really do much but throw magic back at you, and Blade Masters are a naturally tanky bunch. You would think something like the Heavy Axe would be a tanky class, and it is. It's got the highest hit point growth as far as I remember. Not that I dive too much into the minutia of min-maxing and stat progression, but I have been told several times that as far as overall stats go, Blade Master's about as good as it gets on, staying solid on defense, and it is a class that has the level 99 heavy armors available to it. Frequent visitors to the channel may know that I've set this Blade Master up with a unique setup. The armor is not unique, it's just heavy armor as high a level as you can get. To watch out for little things like that. But I also specifically chose a sword that allows me to put enemies to sleep, just for risky little occasions where one comes up and one tap dying shots me. Death Strike doesn't quite hit as hard as it does in most other games, which I could be thankful for. It doesn't outright kill you, but it puts you in critical range, which is why you saw most of that vaunted hit point total of mine go away right quick and in a hurry. Survived that, picked up some rig game for free, which means all I have to do is recast rig same and I am back on the road. Is worth noting that my speed charm, my app-do ability, is probably a little over half used up, so the next time I'm looking at rebuffing, I'll cast all 3 permanents. Now I'm going to crash the portal real quick, get my initial hit in, and then get out of dodge. That has me take 1 shot, and now I'm back to the ROM spell. At least to get rid of the Franken. 1 more will do it. And now let's crash in and take care of the Dark Horse. Not terribly worried, because again, these things are half my level strength. But if I'm not careful, I could still die here. And I think that's one of the allures of this game. There is a replayability in difficulty. Love when the sleep ability goes off first try. I want to say that's Moominlay, but as we know, I can't really get anything right the first try, so we'll have to check later. I'm pretty sure Moominlay is sleep. But I will check the skills here once we get out of this. Got some bonus monsters, a couple wandering, starving ogres from the looks of it. Nope, 1 ogre and 1 dark horse. Let's take care of this Franken before it wakes up. And then come back to the dark horse. Give it a nice little cross slash, because nothing is more cool than a sword on fire. There goes our sleep. There goes our speed. Again, apologies, tripping on my words today. Probably not the best time to record. I actually sat down to record yesterday, and for whatever reason, the tech was just not playing with itself nicely. One program was not recognizing another, and it was a pretty busy day. Still had to work and had a couple side projects I was keeping up on, and yeah, just ran into a situation where there weren't enough hours to get things rolling. But we are here today and recording and probably releasing sometime down the road. Get some app Annied. One more portal to go here. We're just going to try and sleep everything if we can. Happy that didn't hit. If the Dark Horse wakes up, I'm not terribly worried. Awesome, we got all 3. Let's take these Frankens down, and by then the Dark Horse should actually wander its way to us. Can't believe it was still asleep all that time. Well, there's something to be said for, being level 99, I suppose. As we are max level, if you're unfamiliar with the game, we're not going to get experience because there's no experience left to get. But also because we're max level, we're not terribly concerned with it. Starving Ogre's magic resistant. Wish I'd have remembered that before I tried to show off. Frankens aren't magic resistant, but you know what? Blade Masters are Blade Masters for a reason. Let's use the sharp, pointy stick. technically that's more of a long arm thing, but you know. That's our field clear. Now we're going to jump into this giant buried dude's mouth, as that is our dungeon entrance. Now when Sam did her run, it was just a field clear. Did not get a chance to do the dungeon because, again, the risk of a situation close to what we had there with the Franken death touching and a potential for a wandering monster was too great. The Franken can also paralyze targets. Again, I'm not terribly worried about that with our stat build, but it is a possibility. If you get paralyzed and death tapped, it's just not going to be a successful run. That's one of those combos that's going to lead to death right quick and in a hurry. Here you can see a bit of variance in the monsters right away with a Temple Knight added in. Those are completely magic tolerant and have a devastating combo attack if you're close in level. Get a little T-branch off to the right side of this dungeon with a quick downstairs if you're looking to speed run or just get to the statue. We're going to go for a full clear though, just to check out what's in here. This is all new to me, and the monster mix had that right amount of danger and variety, and I just kind of dig the swamp fields. So I had asked her while she was streaming for the keywords, and Sam was more than gracious enough to pop me those keywords right after we got back to town. Just pulled them up in the warp history, jotted them down on a piece of scratch paper here at the desk, and away we go. Gonna head down this branch. No worries about taking the wrong path because we've already seen the stairs down. Sleep one Franken and just attack the other. Hate getting a miss there. You know what though? That was a nice close-up. Not sad about that at all. Really hasn't been a high treasure run. Kind of strange given the fact that we started out with a chest popping out of a portal. But you have what you have. Again, as long as we keep incapacitating those Frankens, we are going to be in fantastic shape. And yeah, there are higher output swords for Blade Masters. Rugrats Knights is what I run with, and part of the reason I run with it, yeah, Moomin Light, put a target to sleep. Also, at this level, I'm going to have 99 physical attack with a great variety of weapons. 3 Temple Knights. Again, this is just a bad time all around if you're not careful. And it's that combo attack there that can absolutely shred your defense if you're a lower level, and especially if you're a lighter armor class. Like, those things are just the bane of existence for Wave Masters. In another time and place when I was able to do this YouTube thing a bit more regularly, I do remember uploading a video where the thumbnail was just my Wave Master running in terror from a group of like 3 or 4 of those suckers. Just getting some treasure out of this portal. But they're also sneaky for your mid-armor classes, like a Twin Blade or a Long Arm, where you think you got enough punch to kill them, and if you're not careful with the hit points, or maybe if you have Rig Same up and the buff wears off mid-combat and you're not paying attention, that combo attack's gonna get you. Moving up to the other side of the dungeon here. I guess, over to the other side. Go damage first, probably not the optimal idea, but we live to tell the tale, so let's just stay in the grouping and hammer away. I don't often use this skill with this character because just auto attacking is more than sufficient, and it's a critical hit weapon as we saw there, and it's fun to see big numbers. But great crowd control out of that ability. Moving to the next portal. Get 2 Temple Knights and a Nightmare, so we're facing naught but damage. Generally, if I can get an enemy to an area where they have no choice but to cast against me, I'm feeling good. Because again, magic defense is high. And very few enemies are going to put the hurt on me, especially out of a level 40 field, with a spell. For a moment I thought my analog stick was just in a wonky position, but it seems like Apdu wore off, so we will Apdu that again. +5 pun. I know. Just start things off 700 points to the better. Much like the last video that would have come out by the time this one is out. So projecting into the not too distant and a little more distant futures, if you will. Though I guess it will be present and past by the time this is actually heard. This isn't going to be the most challenging run. Another thing about the Temple Knights I forgot, that pesky life drain. Now, one thing you may not realize is even though it's entirely magic tolerant, they could still be confused and put to sleep. And my best guess to it, it's not 100%, but the way I figure it works, and someone more knowledgeable could probably explain it in a far more eloquent manner than myself. But it seems the game only recognizes magic as things that cause damage magically, like spells or spells that come off of the scroll items. A skill that causes a status effect is just a skill. So magic-tolerant enemies like the Temple Knight can be put to sleep, but I did 100% forget about their life drain ability, and that's another cool, neat little feature that I'm glad we got on video for those people who might want to run this dungeon, or are getting into this level range in Fragment and wondering what to expect, even in IMOQ period. Finally making it down to the second floor. That was a bit of a jaunt over the first, and when you get an expansive first floor like that, my initial thought is that this might be a deeper dungeon too. So this might be a chill out, relax, take an hour, hour and a half, and just sort of take some time for yourself, breathe deep, and clear a dungeon sort of deal. Also, for the second time, we've got a stairs down available after only a couple rooms, so while a full clear may be on the more time-consuming side, it also seems like a dungeon that you could just zip down fairly easily thus far if you're in a time pinch or you just need a quick clear in this area. Here's a Franken. We'll take it on one-on-one and end that battle quick with a 4-digit crit. Picking up a Chaos spell. Who isn't a fan of a good Chaos spell every now and then? Sleep the Franken. Go ahead, finish it off while we get no resistance. and then Megan Rom for the Dark Horse. And again, there are more powerful spell options even available to Blade Masters with some of the higher level armors. But I love Megan Rom because it's only 20 SP. With Rig Geem going, that's practically a free cast, and as you can see, I'm stocked back up and ready to go well before I even walk through that door. Like keeping my resources nice and managed in games, so it's just a win-win to have something that could keep an enemy at bay, do consistent damage, and is spammable without being resource consuming. That keeps my levels high, and it keeps my items fresh. Life Drain not really going to matter there. It was getting, what, 20 hit points off of us? Get double our treasure and double our fun with the risky business. Picking up some bad earrings and some ninja socks. I think this place was stocked by a Halloween store. And the decorations kind of fit with that, doesn't it? Pick up some cooked bile. That's our unofficial snack of the dungeon. Okay, Temple Knight and 2 Dark Horses. A little thing that I've silently become a fan of over time. It's frustrating sometimes in-game, but I really appreciate this little quirk of the AI. Monsters will push themselves. They will interject into a combat, which saves an enemy that you're hacking away at sometimes from that finishing blow. And potentially gives an enemy with a status ability like a Franken another chance to potentially paralyze you. So, something to keep in mind, and another reason that being able to incapacitate, especially with things like confusion or sleep that hit fairly accurately, is just such a boon to a character. Again, that's my personal opinion. I'm sure others might have different opinions or better plans than mine, and that's one of the great things about this game, you know? Talking mid-2000s, definitely a different time and place, but there's more than enough meat on the bone for a fair bit of variety, even from what seems like a linear patch together of assets from a single-player game series. I think overall that may be Fragment's biggest strength, the hidden depth. Whether it's the slightly too difficult for modern minds to comprehend character progression, the brutal experience loss, and of course that absolutely torturous slog from level 80 to level 99. The fairly open-ended creation suite for area servers, and the fact that players can create their own area servers with custom fields and whatnot. Gonna take a minute and rebuff for a grand total of 1 portal, and though I usually skip empty treasure rooms because we're doing this full clear, I'm gonna go ahead and dip down and grab that room with the treasure chest at the very bottom. Again, get some core damage in right away. Glad that the Franken's missing like crazy. Dip around to this side, make the Dark Horse run a little circle for us, and before it can attack again, it's stuck in Megan Rom land. We exchange spells. Clearly we're going to get the best of that exchange. And we get a Summon Knight for our troubles, which is going to sell fairly well by the time we get back to town. Little square room here with a chest. And now we're off to the 3rd floor. Roughly 26 minutes in right now recording. I'm sure I'm going to pare that down a little, cutting out some of the loading times and editing and whatnot. Hopefully that helps and isn't too jarring. I do my best to try and do things in a smooth manner with that. Floor 3. Don't see a stairs down right away, so that's a bit of a departure from the first couple floors. Do have a singular path and a couple empty rooms to the right on the map there. But first we gotta get through this portal, and we see a Daligon, a big old fire dinosaur dragon thing. Skills on this sword, aside from Moon Light, are pretty useless against a fire enemy that is 100% fire tolerant, but damage is eternal in this style of game. So just hitting it hard works. Back to our Franken and Temple Knight combo. We're just going to ignore the Temple Knight, even though the Franken is dealt with. Just not my biggest concern. There you see it got a quality 16 hit points back. Just made life that much harder for me. We'll dip into the first of these. You'll just see two if you decide to check out every floor, and it's just a square room. It's got a skeleton there, and that's a great place to get resources like antidotes and restoratives. Again, that will respawn every time you dip in and out of the room. Also, potential for the eggs to come out of there. Every dungeon's going to yield golden eggs, and then they usually have a dungeon-specific egg, I believe, for these flesh dungeons that you get into by crawling inside of giant folks' mouths. Bloody eggs are the egg of the dungeon. Get a pair of Frankens. And because I must pun every floor, putting them both to sleep just made Franken sense. I'm groaning on the inside. So are the Frankens. You can't hear them, you know, because they're video game assets and also don't have heads. They may still have voice boxes, but they're sleeping. Take them down with some of the magics, and move on to a Crossroads portal. Just some Temple Knights out here. So we will smash, bash, and crash our way through this. So glad they all decided to join here. And again, this is an area where if I was closer in level, the last thing I would do is run right in the middle. Pick up a Bankee's Guard. Not interested in giving this Daligon an attack, so Moominlay is what we're hitting out of the gate. Nice run, more to the academic side in that battle. Because in a one-on-one fight, if one side can't fight, the outcome's pretty much decided. Two more Temple Knights. A little bit of a delay there. Always worry when that happens. I've had more than enough disconnects out of nowhere. Which again is bound to happen from time to time. Got a few more portals here in what looks like the ending stages of the third floor before we go to floor 4. Sure, there's a little stone altar on the other side of that, maybe an egg on it, certainly not a treasure chest, or else we would have seen a blue dot in the mini-map, and sure enough, one more portal before our stairs down. We got a Dalagon, and in the interest of fairness, we'll give it an attack, but we'll also swing it twice its level and hit critically, and turns out it didn't really get that attack off. It went for the breath attack, and that's a heck of a wind-up animation on that. Pick up a Darkness Hood, which is fitting, because it's actually what I'm wearing today. Floor number 4. Got all kind of rooms showing. We're going to be heading down right away. And it looks like there's a bit of a dead end forming off to the right. Which means that the rest of the dungeon... Oh, okay. I was going to think down, but it seems like we have an up and right and a straight right. So that threw me for a loop. Here we have a pair of dark horses. Deal with one, sleep the other. Should have grabbed that treasure chest, but we're a half hour in at this point.
Bloody egg.
Yep, bloody egg for this dungeon type. Finally did repatch, by the way, so this is about as current as I think the translation is. Did that yesterday while I was preparing, and then ended up not streaming. Back-to-back crits, nice there. Not streaming, recording. Potential statue chests there, which would make this a sprawling 4-floor dungeon. Nice sample size of the game in general. Floors all on the longer side. Nice little jaunt through though. Of course, I haven't really confirmed that there isn't a stairs down, so all of this could just be supposition for nothing. As there are several smaller rooms that kind of look like treasure rooms at a distance, and then you get closer and find out they're not the real deal. Slept the nightmare because I was a bit further left than I needed to target the Franken. Again, those spells will auto-target the closest enemy to you. But we got the Franken down in time. Pick up a chaos spell for our trouble, and as we come back through, I'll grab that treasure chest that's been sitting in that backwards L-shaped room that we passed through earlier. Chests that are already in the dungeon will stay as you pass by, but if a chest is generated by defeating a monster or by a portal opening up into them and you leave the room, those will disappear. So if you're racing to see how quick you can get to a statue and just for the sake of bragging rights with another player, and you want to go back and pick up the treasure later, you can always leave these ones, but if a monster drops, one shot on those. Once you leave the room, it's gone. We've now confirmed that is in fact the statue room off to the right there, but there's one more portal left to check out, so we're going to venture a little lower and get our full dungeon clear here. And in typical me fashion, I'm going to do this in the boring, safe way. Just put him to sleep and combo kill. I was interested to see how this dungeon would play out, and hopefully this was an interesting run for you all. Definitely think Sam made 100% the right call by leaving after the field clear and keeping that level 40 intact. Again, frequent visitors to the channel will know I oftentimes lose levels on not making that decision wisely and pressing on past the point where I shouldn't have. Some Osorazin socks, a light cross, times two. So we picked up a nice little haul there. Got some bat earrings, which are going to give you access to all Rep and Rip Main. Fantastic abilities to have at any point in party play. Darkness Hood, that'll give you all Rep and Riptane. Not the biggest fan of Riptane in game because you get that whole animation for casting, whereas antidotes are fairly cheap and just sort of do the thing for free. Ninja anklets. Couple spells in them, decent stats for a level 36 light armor, and also ninja socks, which are comfy and cozy. If I had to guess, a poly cotton weave. Anizot and couple awakenings on these. The Asorazin socks, that's our statue chest item. 52 leg armor, medium, which again gives you Anizot, and you really can't complain with anything that lets you drop a skull from nowhere onto your enemies. And then rounding out our equipment haul were two Benki's guards, which are 38 heavy leg armor. Benki, of course, one of the more notable heavy axe NPCs you'll run into in offline and in the IMOQ games. This was a look at level 30 Talisman Scaffold on the V's Place server. Want to thank everyone who comes by and checks this out, and really just everyone in the fragment community. I don't really get a chance to say this often enough, but it's really been a blast getting into this game and getting to know so many awesome people. Enough of me being sappy and sentimental and everything. I'm just going to do the whole sign-off thing. Hope you're all doing well out there and that you take care. This has been a grumpy old guy doing something similar to gaming. And while I struggle to remember what exactly a Sprite Ocarina is used for, I'll say take care, and we'll see you around.